Ranaut's film Emergency is currently in a state of limbo. On the 8th of July, Manikarnika Films submitted an application to the Central Board for Film Certification. They claim that they got an email on the 14th of August saying that the CBFC certification had come through and that the movie was successfully sealed, requesting the producers to collect the certificate, but they claim that when they went there, the same was not given to them. So nobody really knows what's going on, but the buzz seems to be that this film has been indefinitely postponed, potentially till after the Haryana elections, because they don't want a law and order situation in Delhi, Punjab, and Haryana, and elsewhere, wherever it could happen. Is this fair? Kangana Ranaut is crying foul. Meri film pe emergency lag gayi hai. That's what she's saying. And this is really a battle between freedom of expression on one hand and the right to offend or hurt or concern that the people could get hurt and it could lead to a law and order situation. And to talk about this today, I'm joined on this particular broadcast by Mr. Isaac. Mr. Isaac has joined us on today's broadcast to discuss the same issue. Sir is a serial life sciences entrepreneur in the pharmaceutical, clinical research and the nutritional space. And Mr. Isaac has been a life sciences entrepreneur. He has started half a dozen companies, listed them in the stock markets of India, as well as outside. And he has been involved in the healthcare enterprises, including teaching hospitals in Chennai. At one point, Mr. Isaac oversaw 12 manufacturing operations pan-India. And an important thing to note is that almost every company that he's offered to take care of, he has ensured equal opportunity for work, equal work opportunities for both men and women. That is definitely commendable. And I would like to welcome Isaac, sir, on this show. We welcome you, sir. Sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
So we have Isaac, sir, joining us today on this important matters discussion. So, sir, right off the bat, I want to start by getting you to talk about whether you think, in light of this particular concern, that there could be a law and order problem, in light of the concern that there are elections in Haryana and that the Sikh bodies have taken a very strong position that if the film were to be released now, if Kangana Ranaut's Emergency were to be released now, passions could get surcharged, there could be protests on the streets, and therefore everybody across the political spectrum of the country should be careful. Is that a real concern? So probably it's not okay to trust the collective wisdom of the society by and large. It's better to impose a ban on the film for now and then maybe push its release to a later date. Is this a right call, or do you think that it's a completely wrong call? With whatever cuts are required, the modifications are required, the film should be given a certificate and that it should be allowed to release? Your thoughts on this, sir?
That's a very interesting perspective and question, Anukriti, because if you look at the whole thing from a longer perspective, you realize that you're faced with a number of components of this challenge that is seen today. One is that Kangana Ranaut has been a talented actress, is continuing to be a talented actor. But when she embraced politics and she decided to join the current disposition, she has tended to probably make statements which are inflammatory in nature, and probably to buttress her current position with the party in which she works. She is on various attempts at reinforcing her commitment to their ideology, and therefore she believes that she must create also with that perspective in mind. So there are two issues here. One is that, as a actress, as a person who's working in this area, should they be allowed the freedom to portray what they believe in, versus her position as a member of the parliament and the position she takes in the movie. So there is a clash between her currently position as a politician versus her position as an actress. If she was purely an actress, then a perspective and her what she wants to portray could have been looked at from a much liberal viewpoint. But today, when she is a member of parliament, she has a greater responsibility on being controlled in the way she expresses anything, whether it's in the movies, whether it's in personal life, whether it's in public fora, whatever it is. Because then you are representing a particular position, whether it's extreme right or center or whatever. So while I've not seen the movie, but understanding her views and the comments that she's been making so far does tend to be a little insensitive to various communities and various people in the social fabric that we have in India. And if there is anything that could portray anybody in bad light, particularly the Sikhs for that matter, in terms of the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, you cannot actually extend what happened there to the entire community, right? So if there is anything like that, then obviously you would have a sense of discomfort within the Sikh community, and therefore it would create or inflame passions during this period. It may not be advisable to, in my opinion, to launch such a movie which may have claims or positions that could not be conducive or not be acceptable by any community at this point of time, considering that she is a member of parliament and she's not merely an actress or not merely a somebody who's expressing something through theater.
So with due respect to what you're mentioning here, and if I were to build on that, pretty much like what author Ranganathan is also saying, who are we as a community to impose a ban or to impose censorship on any piece of art or any piece of art which expresses or communicates in any way whatsoever with the collective society of the country by and large? Who are we to do that? Because the Central Board for Film Certification is, after all, a certification body and not a censorship body. We have now, over a period of time, come to address it as the censor board. But it is not the censor board, it is a certification board, and films go there to either get a U or an A or a U/A certificate. Building on that, who are we to demand cuts in any movie? Let's keep emergency aside for a moment here. Why are we demanding cuts or modifications in any piece of art in the form of a movie? We do also need to understand that India, or for that matter, any country by and large, is going to be a polarized society. There's going to be a right, there's going to be a left. There are boys and girls, and there is going to be a Modi ji, and there's going to be a Rahul Gandhi. There's going to be a right and a wrong for everybody. What's probably objectionable to you is not going to be objectionable to me. We are always going to be a polarized society. Why? Because not everybody can be the same. There is going to be a clash of ideas always, whether it be work, whether it be art, whether it be cinema, whether it be art in any form whatsoever. whether it be a book, whether it be an art gallery, a painting. How can we play God? What is wrong? What is right? What is objectionable? What is not objectionable? Who gets to decide what is religious? What is pornographic? Who are we to decide? So, is it correct, in your opinion, to impose a ban and then underestimate the collective intelligence and the collective wisdom of the people of India by and large? Why can't we leave this decision in the hands of the people of India? Who are we as a small collective bunch of people from an authoritative body, from a competent authority, to decide whether or not to impose a ban on any piece of art for that matter, even if we keep the movies and in particular emergency aside? Who are we to decide?
A very interesting question. I must commend you on that. You see, the dichotomy here stems from the fact that one, as an artist, you are taking a particular position on something and you're trying to express it through art. But there is something called responsibility also. When you're an artist, you have the right to express yourself, but you also have the responsibility to make sure that what you express, it's not what you express also, it's also how you express it, the way you express it. So if the way you express it is something that is hurtful to anybody and you consciously do it, then there is a challenge and you will incite unnecessary attention from people, communities, whatever. Over the past decade, we have actually seen the banning of a number of movies, books, which the present dispensation feels that it is either against or reflecting badly on a religion or on a social order or on a community or a caste or a religion. So unfortunately, this is where we have deteriorated as a nation without giving flexibility to a different point of view expressed through art. If you look at old Bengali cinema, they have actually done wonderfully well in portraying different perspectives, in spite of not being centric or right or left. So, but they've done it beautifully. So the way to do it also is important rather than, creating a guttural viewpoint about a particular perspective. So I think as an artist, you also need to be responsible apart from enjoying your rights about expression. But coming back to your question on whether we have the right to sit in judgment on it, I think all of us have opinions, whether it is individually or collectively. And that is something that I think everybody will continue to express irrespective of what we say. Yes, we must be a little more friendlier to an artist in allowing them to be to express things in perspectives that probably we have not understood, appreciated, or looked at. So that's something that's always there. At the same time, I believe that artists also have a responsibility to how they express something. If you want to do it for the sake of art, or you want to do it for the sake of politics. In this case, you are kind of, there's a very thin line dividing a political perspective from a matter of art. So if you're an artist, if you're a Satyajit Ray, and you want to bring out a particular topic, he has brought out so many topics which are anathema to the central society, but how he has expressed them has been done so beautifully. And I don't think that has seen any objections from anybody. People have appreciated the way you display it, how you show it, how you compose
building
it.
on your answer, with due respect to your answer, when it comes to this movie, I don't see any political angle at all. What I do see, however, is a representation of historical facts of the country through the medium of cinema. Now, the actor and the director of the movie, Miss Kangana Ranaut, has not written the script. She has rather appointed a team of historians and authors who have clearly done their due diligence in terms of research and scripted down the movie. And the movie has been shot. The shooting of the movie was completed by the end of 2022. What I do see here through the trailer is depiction of historical facts according to, of course, I will give this much to you, according to the interpretation of Miss Ranaut and her team of authors and writers and historians. But I don't see any political agenda attached to the movie. However, what I do see as an extrapolation through this heated debate which is going on in the country right now, as an extrapolation, I do see a political agenda attached in the form of the Haryana elections, which are just round the corner. Those Haryana elections have got nothing to do with the script of the movie, but yes, we can't deny the fact that the BJP is watching the Haryana elections just round the corner, and there is a political gain in sight. There is a vote bank, which of course the political party will be concerned about. But as far as the movie in and of itself is concerned, sir, where is the political angle in the movie? It is a depiction of historical facts, like I will repeat, according to the interpretation of Ms. Ranaut and her team of writers.
Again, interesting question, but let's accept one thing. See, Kangana Ranaut has painted herself into a corner because she has taken a political stance for the past few years, right, on everything. She has passed off comments on various things in this country, and all of them, these comments have been reflecting a certain political character. So it's unfortunate. If it is not probably Kangana Ranaut, probably people would have looked at it much differently, right? If it was an artist, let's say, there are so many good artists in cinemadom in India, and they would have looked at it very differently. Everybody would have looked at it very differently. So when you say it is perspective, one tends to feel that probably the perspective will be a little skewed towards Ms. Kangana Ranaut's perspective today, favoring her current, allegiance to a political party. With regard to, writing a script by professionals, we all know history written by whichever side depicts only their perspective. It doesn't look at, balancing anything. It may be a historical fact, but we have enough books and movies written with one-sided perspective. So
we have a lot of debate going on. Even if we keep cinemas aside, we have a lot of debate going on the same matter, even in the sector of education for that matter. Even the boards fight over this, that the way historians write textbooks, history textbooks for students, even those can have a skewed and a lopsided vision sometimes, again, depending on the perspective of the writer. I agree with you.
So, yeah. So unfortunately, what happens is unfortunately, she has taken a position where she's painted herself into a corner. Unfortunately, right? If it was somebody else, probably it would not have garnered so much of attention and so much of probably protests about it. But I guess, unfortunately, she has put herself in this position.
Just going a little off topic here. Could it also be a case of a strong patriarchal structure of our country, where being a woman, number one, and number two, having portrayed the image of a woman who is rather blunt, brash, and direct when it comes to expressing herself? Could these points also be adding up against Miss Ranaut at this point? Like you said, had it been some other actor, female or male, things could have been softer on this front and people would not have taken such a rigid or a staunch stance on this movie. But since it happens to be Miss Ranaut's movie, and being a woman, she's already, over the last few years, painted an image of herself which is that of a very bold and a brash woman who speaks her guts out, calls a spade, does not mince her words whatsoever, and does not mind hurting the sentiments of people or communities by and large. Could these things be working against her at this point?
Yes and no. No, because there are a number of very talented women across various areas. You included, for example, who are strong-willed and focused and are open to expressing what they believe is their perspective. So kudos to that. I don't think that should be a problem. Indian society is now maturing to a point where we appreciate women who have strong viewpoints also. The problem here is not that. I think the problem here is because she belongs to a, let's face it, she's a member of parliament. I mean, any perspective that you bring into anything that you produce is going to reflect your position vis-a-vis politics. So because she's a politician and because she portrays a certain perspective in politics, it is probable that everything she does in terms of art could also be painted with the same brush. Now, I don't know how many people have watched the movie or are justified in protesting against it or whatever. I have not seen it, so I don't know. But like me, I guess everybody will assume that Ms. Ranawat will continue to be the person she is in the perspective that she has been speaking of for the reflecting the perspective of the political party or the the hue of the political party that she represents. So unfortunate, she's a politician. So everybody expects to look at it from a political viewpoint. I don't see anything beyond that. I think there are even enough strong women around, and I think they are appreciated for the great role that they play in the various walks of life.
I do agree. I do agree that India does have a very strong political fabric. There is a very strong political foundation to the country. So, speaking of politics, if we look at Congress right now, which is in the opposition, a lot of bans were imposed on movies in the last 15 years by the Congress, or they at least tried to get bans imposed on a lot of movies. For example, the Indian Summer got banned. It got sidelined in the process. No Fire Zone. Inshallah Football was banned. They demanded a ban on Padmavati as well. Then they demanded a ban on the song Dam Maro Dam. Arakshan, they demanded a ban on that movie as well. Arjun Reddy, again the same story. Rang De Basanti, they staunchly demanded a ban on that movie as well. And right now, again, the Congress is again crying hoarse at this point. However, having said that, I'm not going to name this particular person, but a strong political analyst, a very famous political analyst from the country right now feels that the Congress in this particular ecosystem is just incidental. The CBFC is governed by the ruling government. The ruling government happens to be BJP. Kangana Ranaut herself is a BJP MP. The question right now lies with the central government. And this seems to be a very bechari position for Ms. Ranawat. She belongs to the BJP. She can't even accuse the BJP. And had she been, you do understand what I'm trying to say here. She can't accuse the party that she belongs to. She could have done the same probably for the Congress. She could have cried horse over there, but she can't do that for the BJP. The BJP, on the other hand, is also looking at the Haryana elections, which are around the corner. The BJP itself is being very strong in its stand when it comes to imposing a ban on this movie, because the BJP also feels that it could raise a law and order situation in the country. So what are your thoughts on that? Looking at the whole political spectrum, I hate to quote tweets from social media, but a few tweets on Twitter did stand out for me the other day. And one of them said that although the government lies with the BJP, but the whole system is run by the ecosystem, the political ecosystem of the country, the collective ecosystem of the country. How much of this tweet is true, and how much can we now depend on the central or the rural or the ruling government when it comes to realizing the collective wisdom of the people of the India? Or are they going to go through and impose a permanent ban on this movie? Because according to one political analyst, the Congress right now is just incidental. And it's majorly about the BJP playing a very important role in this matter.
I guess with the last elections, the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP is on the back foot a little bit, considering that it has been challenged at the hustings and challenged very seriously. And therefore, today's its survival depends on support from so-called friendly parties. And therefore, it needs to be seen as somebody who's, making sure that the little things are taken care of. So if there is anything that would disturb a political scenario in Haryana or Punjab, I think there would be enough people there stepping forward to say, okay, we need to make the right noises so that, we don't lose support at the hustings. And therefore, I guess the BJP is also playing its card. Everything is political today. If Shivaji Maharaj statue could become a political issue because it fell down, I mean, what is Kangana Ranaut's movie? I mean, unfortunately, she is dispensable even as far as the BJP is concerned. So if it suits them, I guess it is just her bad luck that she is launching this movie at this point of time. But I also think that the moment the elections are over and there is nothing else that could, create a problem, I'm sure that they would, release the movie and say, all right, just go ahead and, show it off to everybody, let people decide whether it's going to succeed in the box office or not. So
Because
I think it's a political game.
yes, because I truly respect the people of the country, and I feel like they're far more intelligent than the credit that we give them. A lot of movies have been based on political history in the past. Some of the superstars have starred in them, and they have been very proactive in their support towards the ruling party. And trust you me, when these movies have been released for public exhibition, they have bombed at the box office. They haven't lasted in theaters for even 3 days. So, when it comes to this particular movie, if Kangana Ranaut has decided to showcase Bhola and Shankar, for example, what's wrong with that? History cannot be distorted beyond a certain point. History is going to stay history. The hard facts are going to stay the hard facts. The ultimate question remains, sir, if you don't want to watch the movie, fine. We respect that. If you want to go ahead and watch the movie, go ahead and watch it. None of us have seen the movie so far. It obviously hasn't released. It was supposed to release yesterday. We have only seen the trailer so far. So the ultimate question remains, politics or no politics, if you don't like a movie, don't watch it. If you don't like a book, shut it. If you don't like a particular piece of art, step out of the art gallery. And if you don't like a news channel, switch on to some other news channel. For example, this conversation is going to be broadcasted absolutely uncensored. The same thing applies to this piece of information as well. If you don't like it, switch the channel. So, what's wrong in leaving that decision to the collective intelligence and the wisdom of the people of India? And we as a democracy are not able to do that. So, don't you think that this is a very hypocritical situation for the country by and large? We, the democracy, we, the people, for the people, by the people, all that jazz. And ultimately, we are the ones who decide to impose or not to impose a ban on freedom of expression, freedom of speech, especially when it comes to doing it through art or through cinema. What kind of a democracy are we talking about at the end of the day, sir?
That's a very simplistic position, Anukriti. Let me paint another picture for you. If you look at the number of books and movies that have been written and that have been banned, right? How bad the book or the movie is, the moment it is banned, everybody is then interested in saying, okay, what's with it? Let's go and check it out. Today, in my opinion, I don't think Miss Ranaut is a fool. She's a very intelligent woman. And I'm sure she's got a team of very, very savvy people out there from moviedom, right? So if nothing prevented her from delaying the launch of this movie till after the elections is over. You know that these things could possibly happen. She would have probably looked at the permutations and combinations that are there, right? So if she had launched it and there was no hangama for it, probably it could have bombed. Today, because it is banned, don't you agree that a lot of people will say, okay, let's go and see this, check it out. Let's see.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about this.
That could make more money. So
I have been
what
thinking
makes you
about
think it's not a
this
strategy?
too. Yes, see, maybe this could be a strategy at the other end of the spectrum. Thinking otherwise, thinking about reverse psychology. For example, if I tell you not to think about the orange elephant, you are going to think about the orange elephant. If you tell a child not to do something, the child is probably going to be more curious about doing something and disobeying his or her parents. So probably, yes, I have thought about this at the other end of the spectrum, at the polarized end of the spectrum, that What if Ms. Ranaut has been thinking of this political scenario in the country right now, the situation where the Haryana elections are just around the corner, and the Sikh community by and large has been portrayed in a particular manner in her movie? What if she's thinking about it from a reverse psychological perspective and trying to create a lot of hue and cry, crying horse around it, using her own political background which she has right now, considering she is the BJP MP? What if there is some kind of a political collaboration at this end towards the other end of the spectrum, and there's a lot of negative publicity created around the movie, which then inspires the masses and the people of India to go ahead and watch the movie? Hey, what is it all about at the end of the day? Why so much of hue and cry around this movie at the end of the day, now that the ban has been lifted post the Haryana elections, if that ever happens? Then now let's go and watch it, because there was so much of hue and cry around it. Maybe this could work in the favor of the movie through reverse psychology. Yes, I have given it a thought.
Yeah, because you see, look at it. Over the past couple of years, Ms. Ranawat has, like I said, painted herself into a corner. She's got a lot of bad publicity because there were a lot of statements that she made which were very short-sighted, which were impromptu and made her look pretty foolish. So how would you recover from that? Look at it. Assume this position where all this hype about this movie, this lady who's an artist who's not permitted to display what she's trying to do. It's a perspective on history. She's created a good team who's written the good script, and she's being banned. So she's pushed down by everybody, and then post the election, she's resurrected. The movie is displayed. Everybody wants to see it. She makes a killing in the first week, and she's coming out all roses. You see. So what's the best way to resurrect herself at the same time, make sure that a movie doesn't bomb? Is by creating a negative publicity on them. Because I don't see, look at it this way, when you yourself said that she belongs to the same party as the ruling government in the center, you think that it is not possible for them to release a movie without a problem?
Absolutely.
The government has actually,
it's
they pushed their way through on so many issues.
It's a matter of seconds.
So many issues.
For the ruling party to probably create a protest. It's a matter of seconds for the ruling party to bring down a protest. It's a matter of seconds if the ruling party decides to impose a ban and then to again lift the ban post the elections are over. It's a matter of seconds for the ruling party to do anything. And yes, I have thought about a collaboration which could be happening at the back end, which the people of India aren't aware of. That could be a particular political scenario which we aren't aware of yet, but which could in the long term work in Ms. Ranawat's favor, because let's face it, all of us know it, Ms. Ranawat does need a hit at the box office right now. So
I think, I would put my money on this scenario, because I don't think this is about, an artist not being allowed to depict whatever. I think this whole thing is a little bit, probably much more than what meets the eye. That's my personal opinion. And I think this entire hangama about movie, the Sikhs being, hurt by this, the Haryana election, all this is one masala mix that, people are taking advantage of. And personally, I think Ms. Ranawat is a far more intelligent woman, and she's surrounded by a lot of people with considerable intelligence and exposure and experience in the movie industry. So they're not stupid, really. Come on.
And I must admit that the viewpoint that you are putting your money on, I have given it a thought myself as a journalist, that yes, Ms. Ranawat might come across as bold and brash and just outspoken sometimes, but she is indeed a very sharp woman. And so are the political bigwigs of our country. Everybody is sharp. Everybody is a businessman or a businesswoman at the end of the day. And everybody knows how to mint money or make the best of any situation whatsoever, especially when it comes to a political scenario in the country. So if this scenario helps to create business and helps Ms. Ranawat bag a win at the box office, then so be it. Probably there is much more to the situation than what meets the public eye at the moment. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today for this straight talk with me. And we are looking to many more such discussions with you in the future as well. But for now, it has been a deep, insightful session and a deep conversation with you. Thank you so much for making the time for our conversation as always. And we wish to see more of you on our show in the future.
Thank you, Anukriti. The very interesting questions that you raised, I must compliment you on those. I'm glad that we could agree on a perspective that's very different from what you started off with. Best of luck to you and your show, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.